Thank you so much for your comment. I do think it is true that unconditional love for others is hard to find, and it's even more rare to give to ourselves. And I think this is the case for several reasons. When we are in a space of hypercriticism or self-flagellation, or if we've had hypercritical caregivers, or we are in a space or job career that has really high standards, it's really hard to not measure ourselves to what the performance is supposed to look like. Then we tend to internalize people's judgments. We tend to internalize people's projections. We tend to internalize people's insecurities in these ways as well. So it becomes really hard to give unconditional love and grace to ourselves. One of the ways that I have come to a space of giving myself unconditional love and grace is due to my faith in Christ Jesus, is due to being a follower of Christ. In my past, before I knew Jesus, I was incredibly critical of myself. And the irony is, even though I was critical of myself, I kept that to myself. I wasn't excessively critical of others as much as I was to myself, which is that's an outlier in human behavior. We tend to give people what we give to ourselves. But I noted that when I came to knowing Jesus, I started seeing how loved I was, even with all of my idiocies and follies, even with all of the things that don't measure up to God's best. It made it so much easier to be not so hard on myself. That's actually one of the statements that my elders, mentors, they've always told me, stop being so hard on yourself. So I learned, I'm not all the way there yet, but I have learned to be less hard on myself. So it's even easier now to be less hard on other people. It was really easy for me to be not so hard on people, but now it's even easier because I'm not so hard on myself. But I just think that when it comes down to unconditional love, grace, and patience, it really comes from within, and then we can pour out. If you know Jesus, it's even easier to do so. But for people with other faith traditions and other dynamics, regardless, it comes from us, and then we can pour out. We pour from an overflow of unconditional love. We pour from an overflow of patience. We pour from an overflow of grace. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know.